Good morning and welcome to Sunday Square Off. I'm Brahm, Resnik. We have a packed show for you today. First, who's the Trumpiest candidate for the U.S. Senate? Martha McSally, Joe Arpaio, and Kelly Ward all trying to win that title in the Republican primary. Then a big push to deal with Arizona's opioid epidemic. This week, we'll hear about new responses at a special session of the legislature. And we'll talk to the political outsiders being shut out by insiders in the race to replace ex-Congressman Trent Franks in the 8th Congressional District. But first, a new candidate for Phoenix mayor. He's Moses Sanchez, announcing this past week he is a Republican, although the mayor's race is nonpartisan. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And as I always tell our viewers, you may know this by now, my wife is a City of Phoenix employee. Full disclosure right there. So you're a Republican running in a largely Democratic city. As I said, it's nonpartisan, but everybody kind of knows in these races who's who. How do you overcome that hurdle?
Well, we outwork our opponents. We go out there, we grind it out. We get our message out there, and really I'm not really interested in the labels because there are a lot of labels. You can label me a Hispanic, you can label me a veteran, you can label me an educator, an immigrant. There's a lot of firsts involved here. But at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is fighting for Phoenix families. And
they were putting up a bio. You're a former Tempe Union High School school board member, co-founder of a marketing firm, serving the Naval Reserves. We should also mention council members Kate Gallego and Daniel Valenzuela already in this race. So there's that experience. What's prepared you to be the mayor of the 6th largest city in the country?
Well, leadership. When it comes down to it, I've spent 21 years in the military leading a diverse group of individuals. There is no more diverse group on the planet than the United States military. And I've led in battle, I've led in the classroom, I've led in the boardroom. And now I'm honored and looking forward to leading and fighting for Phoenix families in City Hall.
A city of 1.5 million people, no disrespect, probably maybe more diverse than any kind of military setting. You said you want to shake things up. Okay, shake things up. Give us a big idea that you want to take on.
First, we should talk about things. How about that? I mean, how often have you watched those city council meetings and you have city council members who aren't even talking? They're not even discussing things. They're not even, instead of making tough decisions and being leaders, they just kick the can down the road on important issues like pension reform, like public safety, infrastructure.
There are meetings. I've watched the debate. Some of them will go past midnight. So,
and most of those meetings, they don't say anything. They keep passing it on. When we talk about none of these issues that you're talking.
Go to pension reform.
That's
a big one. The city has a deficit year after year because of what it has to pay in for police and fire pensions plus employee pensions. Give us a big idea there. How would you take that on?
The city itself came out with the report, and you see, this is not a new issue. It was at 90% fully funded, then 80%, then 70%, then 60, 50. Now we're at 42%. This is something that's been ongoing. My opponents, they were there 4 years ago. It was a pension problem then. Today, it's a pension crisis. We're not discussing it. They're just kicking the can down the road, sweeping this under the rug, and looking at what next to run for.
Okay. What about you? Leave your opponents aside. What would you do? And this pension is ballooning because they're just bigger and bigger payments to the retirees. So what would you do?
Well, we need to get everybody on board with discussing it, talking about it. Let's assess the situation. Some of the city council members don't even know how much we really owe. Let's put the numbers on the table, and then let's start talking about possible solutions to the problem. They're not talking about any solutions. Some city council members have ideas. Others are just moving on the puck, passing it on to the next city council.
You have an idea.
I would love to talk about all of my ideas and share that information.
Right now you can share with us.
But it would be really nice to have all that information. This city council has not been transparent with. It's not just the pension, public safety, with taxes, light rail. We can go down the list of things that they haven't been transparent on, and Phoenix families are tired of it.
Big idea. Will you reject donations from zoning lawyers, developers, and other businesses that want to influence City Hall?
I'm looking for support from everyone. As you said earlier, I'm running for Phoenix families. The phone calls that I get is the frustration that the status quo is running again. The candidates right now are fighting for City Hall and the zoning attorneys that you're talking about. I'm running to fight for Phoenix families.
You won't accept any money from zoning attorneys?
I'm trying to get the support from all parts of Phoenix, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. businessmen, zoning attorneys, teachers, educators, Hispanics. I'm the only candidate that speaks Spanish fluently. I'll be communicating my message to a broad audience. And really, at the end of the day, we need someone who's going to go out there and represent Phoenix families.
Big question right now. Will the Phoenix Suns get money from the city of Phoenix to help renovate that arena?
That's a great question.
Arena. Okay.
And you know why that's a great question?
Do you
because
support, sorry, we're running out of time, so just a simple question. Do you support, in general, spending public money on sports arenas?
In general, I don't believe that the government should be picking winners and losers. And in this situation, there's plenty of reports out there that show the lack of transparency with the Phoenix Suns.
So is that yes or no? Do you support spending public money on sports arenas?
Phoenix families care about our sports arenas. They do. They care about the Phoenix Suns. They're going through a rough patch right now.
Is that a yes or a no?
We need to get all the information before we decide one of these
so
which
you're
issue
open
we're going to go. I'm absolutely open as long as we have all the information, and we lack that transparency right now.
Good stuff. Got to get to the information on the election itself. We don't really know the date of the mayoral election. It all depends on when Mayor Greg Stanton resigns to run full-time for Congress. If Stanton resigns by April 19th, the mayoral race will be held with the August primary. If he resigns after that date, the election will be on the November general election ballot. So we may not know for a month or 2 or 3 when that election date is going to be, but we do know Moses Sanchez will be there. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
When we come back, the opioid crisis gets the legislature's full attention this week with a special session. The woman leading the state's response tells us what will get done to help and protect Arizonans. But first, Joe Arpaio shakes up the Republican Senate primary. We'll have the latest polling, plus a left-right debate on President Trump's impact on that race. Stay with us.